So today we're going to be making French dip sandwiches, and this is one of my favorites. And so like I haven't even tried it yet, but I already highly recommend this. Like I just love it like so much. So yeah, stay tuned. So first we're gonna cut the onions into pretty much like rings, like you would for onion rings. So now we're gonna just melt some butter because we're gonna saute the onion. So now the butter is for the most part melted and is like kind of simmering. And so we're just gonna start putting in the onions. So I'm just gonna let them, heat up a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take a wooden spoon. That's what I prefer, and I'm just gonna start like stirring them around a little bit.
Cover it and let them get soft.
Now we're gonna cover it with the lid, and we're just gonna let them, sit for a little bit while it's still on its heat. So now we're gonna add some garlic powder on top and stir them around a little bit. Now we're just gonna put it on a lower heat, like probably about 3 for another 5-10 minutes. Now I'm gonna add the beef broth, and we got 2 cans, which is about 32 ounces. So now we're just gonna add about a teaspoon of oregano. And after it comes to a boil, now we're going to put the lid back on it. It is now at a boil, so we're going to cover it and put it on a low heat. And for us, we did 2. And we're just going to put it on for about 14-15 minutes. And we're just going to let it simmer. So now we're just going to put our sandwich bread on it. And we're just going to put it in the oven for a little bit.
I'm going to broil it.
To toast it just a little bit. Now we're just removing the onions from the broth because my dad doesn't like onions, but most time you'd want them in. Our bread is all toasted, and normally you'd put the cheese on it now, but our cheese seems to have joined the circus, so yeah. So now we're just gonna put our roast beef in. And we just got this at our deli. So we're just going to put it in one by one. Every so often you want to just mix it up a little bit. And really this only needs like 5 minutes to cook, because at least the meat that we bought was already cooked. And you can always add more roast beef as you go, because it does shrink a little and it makes you kind of think twice about how much meat you're putting in. And we're just mixing it right now. Oh, here's our onions. Those are just the onions alone, and they are so good. Like, we tried just like 1. Okay, I might have had 2 or 3, but they are so good. We actually ended up putting the sandwich buns, or whatever you want to call them, back into the broiler, and we just like flipped it over to the other side. As you can tell, it's like top side up, just because it was really soft, so we wanted to make that part crispier, not just the inside. So now we're gonna take our provolone cheese, and I'm just gonna fold it in half because our buns, or whatever you want to call it, are really small, so I'm just folding them in half, and we're going to use a total of 1 slice on each piece on each bun. So pretty much just like that. Meanwhile, we've gotten our au jus which is what we would dip it in. And yeah, we've already separated that. And we got our roast beef. So yeah. So now we're going to put our meat on our sandwiches. And so here's the two that she's done so far. And we just seem to have forgotten to cheese one. But, so we're going to use, well, for our bread, because our bread's pretty small, we're just going to use 4. And like she's doing, she's just like folding it up. Like, yeah. And then she would put one right there, yeah. And then put one on top of each. And then that would be 4. But it all depends on the size of your meat and the size of your bread and how much meat you want. So, yeah. I'm going to add some onions onto it because we separated the onions because my dad doesn't like onions. So I'm just going to add some onions on it.
Hey! Come on,
I think I want a little
Daddy.
bit more. Okay. I think that's good. Okay. Well, that's how many onions I want for me. And yeah.
You want me to sit with you?
I don't know what it is about the sauce, but it is, or the odd juice, but it is so good.
I dip it in there.
You can definitely taste the roast beef and the oregano, and I just love it, and I could eat it as a soup. So that was how to make French dip sandwiches. 100% homemade. Not out of the box. Not, well, the broth was out of a can. But you know what I mean. So please try this at home. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you.